You know what's harder than being rich and famous? Being born rich and famous, especially when your last name is Jackson. Because when your dad literally moonwalked across the planet and changed the sound of music forever, the bar isn't just high. It's floating somewhere between the moon and Mars. But Paris Jackson didn't crumble under that weight. She flipped it, spun it, tattooed it on her skin, and turned it into art, one bold lyric, one daring outfit, one don't mess with my energy red carpet moment at a time. So today, we're diving deep into the luxe, unpredictable, beautifully rebellious world of Paris Jackson, her homes, her cars, her net worth, and the wild spirit that keeps her untamed in a world obsessed with labels. And trust me, this isn't your typical celebrity house tour. This is the story of a woman who grew up behind the iron gates of a legend's fantasy and broke free to build her own empire. Let's rewind. Paris. Michael Catherine Jackson was born April 3, 1998. No royal palace, no private island, just a regular clinic in Beverly Hills. But don't get it twisted, this baby was born into pop royalty. Her father, the king of pop. Her mother, Debbie Rowe, a dermatology nurse who made one of the most talked about arrangements in Hollywood history to help Michael become the dad he always wanted to be, and the name Paris? That wasn't random. Michael once made a pact with his sister LaToya and Kathy Hilton. Yes, that Hilton. That if any of them had a daughter, she'd be named Paris. Guess who made good on that promise? Now, you'd think growing up at Neverland Ranch meant a childhood straight out of a Disney movie. And yeah, kind of. There were carousels, a zoo, a movie theater, cotton candy machines, the works. But behind the magic was a fortress. Michael guarded his kids like national treasures. Public appearances meant masks, veils, and a paparazzi-proof exit strategy. Cute? Sure. Normal? Not even close. And then, the fairy tale cracked June 25th, 2009. The day the world stopped, Michael Jackson was gone. Paris was just 11. That's when her world shifted from golden gates to global spotlight. The little girl who'd spent her life hidden behind a mask was suddenly center stage, saying goodbye to her father in front of millions. Her voice trembling, her heart breaking, she said, "Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine." And right there, the mystery of Paris Jackson melted away. The world saw not a celebrity kid, but a child who'd just lost her hero. But here's the plot twist. That wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning. While most celebrity kids fade into luxury and anonymity, Paris went the opposite way. She showed up, she spoke out. She turned the pain into purpose. By her teens, she was back in the public eye. Not because she had to be, but because she chose to be. High school cheerleader, flag football player. The girl who could have had a driver chose to carpool. Paparazzi flashes at football practice? Just another Tuesday. She wanted normal, or at least her version of it. Then came 2017, her breakout year. The Rolling Stone cover that screamed, "I'm not just Michael's daughter." The IMG modeling deal that put her on fashion's front lines. And the music. Oh, the music. Raw, haunting, unapologetically her. But if you think the story ends with fame and rebellion, think again. Because the real luxury of Paris Jackson's life isn't the fame she inherited, it's the freedom she built. Speaking of luxury, let's open the gates to her Hollywood Hills mansion, where bohemian soul meets millionaire calm, and every inch tells a story of a woman who turned legacy into lifestyle. All right? Let's set the scene. Imagine waking up to the sound of California wind brushing through the trees, sunlight bouncing off canyon walls, and your $4 million Hollywood Hills mansion casually existing like it's no big deal. That's just a Tuesday for Paris Jackson. Now, this isn't some sterile mega mansion designed to impress real estate agents. This place breathes. It's got soul, plants that look like they meditate, and a vibe that screams, boho goddess meets rock royalty. Nearly 3,000 square feet of earthy luxury. tucked in the kind of hills where paparazzi need drones just to catch a glimpse. Walk through those doors and it feels less like LA and more like an acoustic song. All stone fireplaces, soft lighting, and a kind of cozy chaos that says, yeah, I burn incense and jam barefoot at 2 a.m. The living room? Centered around a fireplace that looks straight out of a fairy tale. You can practically picture Paris there. Guitar in one hand, wine in the other, surrounded by a mix of artists, old souls, and that one friend who's always bringing crystals to the party. But wait for it. There's a private movie theater just a few steps away. Because when you're the daughter of the man who made Thriller, you don't just watch movies. You screen them like premieres the primary suite. Oh, it's a vibe. Floor-to-ceiling windows that swallow the morning sun, a wraparound deck for coffee and self-reflection, and just enough distance from the chaos of Hollywood to make you forget the noise exists. Picture this: Paris, barefoot, ukulele on her lap, sun pouring through the glass, the kind of peace money actually can buy. And outside, it's less backyard, more resort. A turquoise pool shimmering like liquid crystal, spa jets humming like a lullaby, and candlelit evenings that feel like they were directed by Sofia Coppola. If homes could sigh, this one would. But what's wild is, this isn't her first paradise. Before this Hills Haven, she lived in a sprawling Topanga Canyon estate that felt like a retreat for rebellious artists and lost poets. 7 bedrooms, sunlit walls, a chef's kitchen that could convert even Gordon Ramsay into a vegan yogi, and yes, a private movie theater. Because apparently, one is never enough. She bought it for about $2 million and sold it for $2.3 million. Pocket change for her. But still, that's some smooth business energy. And the decor? Think spiritual millionaire, iron-forged staircases, spa bathrooms, canyon views that make you question your life choices. Every inch whispered luxury, but never screamed it. It wasn't a house. It was a mood board come to life. The outside was pure serenity. Zen water features, fire pits that looked like they belonged in a Norse myth, and a pool so aesthetic it probably has its own fan club. And the solar panels? Yeah, she's green and gorgeous. Mother Earth would approve. So when people say, trust fund baby, Paris just smirks. Because what she really built is taste. Her homes aren't loud, they're layered. Much like her story, they're less, look at me, and more, come in, breathe, and maybe question your entire design sense. And while she's sitting pretty with a net worth hovering around $150 million, it's not inherited dust she's living off. That's modeling contracts, music royalties, brand collaborations, and smart real estate moves, all compounding into a lifestyle that's more intention than indulgence. But here's the kicker. While her home life looks like a Vogue spread, her garage tells a totally different story. Because when Paris hits the road, she's not rolling in just any celebrity SUV. Her cars? They've got attitude. Now, if you thought Paris Jackson's homes were a mood, wait till you see her garage. Because when most celebrities pick cars that scream, I'm rich, Paris picks cars that whisper, I'm rich, but I also camp under the stars. Let's start with the big beast, the GMC Hummer EV, 1,000 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And it's electric. That's right. The same family that gave us Billie Jean now gives us billions of watts. It's like a monster truck with manners, silent, sustainable, and still capable of running over your ex's ego without burning a drop of gas. Paris loves it because it's everything she is, powerful, misunderstood, and unapologetically ahead of its time. When she rolls through LA in that thing, it's less celebrity sighting and more eco-friendly apocalypse queen on tour. But when she's not feeling futuristic, she switches to something a little more wild, the Jeep Wrangler. Now, this isn't the mom at Whole Foods Wrangler. No, this is the Paris Jackson edition. Top off, music blasting, desert wind in her hair, ukulele somewhere in the back seat. It's giving boho millionaire road trip, not trust fund traffic jam. The Wrangler is her escape car, literally. Topanga Canyon, Joshua Tree, maybe even a spontaneous drive up the coast just to breathe. It's rugged, raw, and totally her. And then there's the Sprinter van, aka her mobile Zen den. This thing isn't your regular tour van. We're talking plush interiors, blackout windows, maybe even a mini studio setup. It's her moving safe space. A home on wheels for when the noise of LA gets too loud. You'll find her journaling, meditating, or writing new songs while parked somewhere with a view money can't buy. But let's be honest, every rebel has a soft spot for speed. Enter the Porsche Boxster, the sleek, low-profile sports car that's basically a personality test on wheels. Convertible, elegant, dangerously smooth. Like if rebellion wore heels and spoke fluent horsepower. Picture it. Late-night drives down Mulholland Drive, city lights melting into the horizon, and Paris behind the wheel. Windows down, hair flying, probably listening to some haunting acoustic track she hasn't even released yet. Each car represents a different mood. The Hummer screams power, the Jeep says freedom, the Sprinter whispers peace, and the Porsche purrs pleasure. Together, they're not just a garage, they're a mirror of who she is, bold, balanced, and beautifully unpredictable. Because that's the thing about Paris. She doesn't collect cars for flex points. She collects experiences. Every vehicle has a story. Every drive is a chapter. And whether she's storming through the canyons or gliding through LA streets, she's not chasing attention. She's chasing silence, rhythm, and meaning. But of course, luxury isn't just in what you drive. It's in how you live. And behind all the fame, fortune, and fast wheels, there's another layer. The real story of Paris Jackson. The one most people don't see. Because while the world watches the glam, she's been quietly fighting her own battles and transforming pain into purpose. She was born into a name that printed its own headlines. But Paris Jackson's real story? It's not about the spotlight. It's about surviving it. Because behind the magazine covers, luxury homes, and slow-motion red carpets is a woman who's had to rebuild herself more times than most people have changed hairstyles. She's lived through loss, tabloid wars, internet chaos, and enough public scrutiny to make anyone else vanish into a mansion forever. But Paris? She did the opposite. She stepped forward. Let's be real. Her life wasn't some continuous Instagram filter of boho bliss. By 15, she'd already been through hell and back, battling depression, substance struggles, and the kind of trauma that doesn't just fade with therapy quotes. She even spent years at a treatment school in Utah, the kind of place marketed as healing, but later exposed as anything but. After Paris Hilton's bombshell documentary about abuse in those programs, Paris Jackson came forward too, admitting she'd been diagnosed with PTSD from her time there. Her words were raw. "I still have nightmares," she said. "I still struggle with trust." That honesty? That's her superpower. Because in an industry that rewards perfection, she weaponized vulnerability and turned it into art. And just when tabloids tried to spin another Paris crisis story, claiming she'd been hospitalized after a suicide attempt, she clapped back in real time. You f***ing liars," she tweeted. No PR filter, no apology, just pure uncut truth. Paris doesn't play the fame game. She owns it. In interviews, she's spoken about how being Michael Jackson's daughter means carrying both privilege and pressure. But she's also made one thing clear. She's not living in anyone's shadow. She's built her own light. She identifies as multiracial and proudly black, a reflection of the father who raised her, the culture that shaped her, and the legacy she's chosen to embrace. But she's also the kind of person who refuses to be boxed in by anything, race, gender, or love. When fans asked if she's bisexual, she shrugged it off with trademark Paris wit. "Call it whatever you want. I've dated more than just men and women." Her relationships have spanned every spectrum because to her, love isn't about labels. It's about souls. And maybe that's why her music hits different. It's soft, raw, unpredictable. Much like her. In songs like Let Down and Wilted, you can feel every scar, every sigh, every rebellion wrapped in melody. It's therapy disguised as artistry. But don't mistake that openness for fragility. Paris is also fierce in her activism. She marched during the Black Lives Matter protests with a sign that read, "Peace, love, justice." She didn't post it for likes. She lived it. She's used her voice for LGBTQ+ rights, mental health awareness, and environmental protection. Not for applause, but for accountability. And through all of that, she's still a Jackson, the same last name that reshaped music. In 2022, she and her brother Prince showed up at the Tony Awards to honor MJ, the musical, proving the family legacy isn't a burden, it's a bond. She's also a philanthropist, working with the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation and Heal Los Angeles, quietly doing the kind of work you'll never see in tabloids, because not all power needs to be loud. Fast forward to 2025, Paris Jackson isn't just famous anymore. She's free. She's making music on her terms, designing her life around authenticity, and even challenging her father's estate in court for financial transparency, because when something smells off, Paris doesn't stay quiet. And yeah, her love life's had its ups and downs, like her engagement to music producer Justin Long that ended earlier this year, but she didn't spiral or overshare. She just moved forward, the calm confidence of someone who's been through worse and come out shining. Because that's the thing about Paris Jackson. She's not chasing perfection. She's chasing peace. So while most celebrity kids spend their lives trying to prove they're relevant, Paris is out here proving something bigger, that you can be born into fame, walk through fire, and still come out authentic, grounded, and gloriously yourself. She's not just Michael Jackson's daughter. She's a model, a musician, an activist, a survivor, and one of the few people in Hollywood brave enough to live unfiltered, and maybe that's her greatest luxury. Not the mansion, not the cars, not the money. It's the freedom to be fully, unapologetically Paris Jackson. So if her story hit you somewhere between the heart and the hustle, show her some love. Hit that like button, drop a comment about what inspired you most, and subscribe, because we've got more deep dives coming into the lives of icons who turn legacy into legend. And remember, in a world obsessed with fitting in, the real flex is standing out.